Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk about the regional differences of the English colonies. So, if you look at this map here, you can see in the north we have the New England colonies. So, there's like Massachusetts and Rhode Island, they're in pink. Underneath New England, in yellow, are the middle colonies like Pennsylvania. In green are the Chesapeake colonies like Maryland and Virginia. This is where Jamestown is. And at last, in the orange, we have the southern colonies. So I'm going to start off with the New England colonies. In New England, their environment, which is something they ask you on the AP test, they have rocky soil. So there isn't a lot of agriculture or like on large plantations like there was in the Chesapeake and southern colonies. Instead, they fished, they built boats with their large supply of timber because there's a lot of forests everywhere. They had a lot of port cities, so like Boston, for example, which allowed for a lot of trade. In New England region, this was mostly made up of Puritans who were not as welcoming of outsiders, so they were less diverse, but they did have a good deal of political participation through their town meetings. I am going to talk about self-government either in another video or in class, so make sure you pay attention to that later because that is essential for understanding the development of the colonies. In the middle colonies, they had fertile soil, so unlike in New England, they grew a lot of grain, which is why they were nicknamed the breadbasket colonies. Local government was a mix of the personalized town meetings like they had in New England and the larger like county governments they had in the South. But the middle colonies were probably the most American in the sense that they were the most ethnically diverse. And this is because they had religious freedom, and also land was much easier to acquire, which was a requirement to vote. So this led to greater political participation as well. In the Chesapeake region, they grew tobacco mostly, and more tobacco meant that they needed more labor. They discovered that Native Americans were dying too quickly due to diseases, and so African slaves initially cost too much, but England did have a large supply of labor, so many English citizens came over from England as indentured servants, where they volunteered to work in exchange for passage over. So they would get passage over, they would get some food and some clothes, and they might even earn their chance of some land later. Whoever did pay for their passage over got 50 acres of land, which means that the wealthy in Virginia and Maryland actually continued to add to their plots of land. So because they were paying for more people to come over, they got more land, and that leads to more wealthy landowners, large plantation owners in the Chesapeake region, as well as in the southern region. Politically, Virginia had the House of Burgesses, which was a representative government. It's like a mini version of England's parliament at the time. In the South, many English settlers came directly from the English colonies in the West Indies, and they brought their ideas of these really large plantations and slavery with them. They grew tobacco and rice and have much closer ties to the mother country. They did have some religious toleration, but they still supported the Church of England, unlike the New England region where we had the separatists, the Pilgrims, and the Puritans who had some disagreements with the English church. Like the Chesapeake colonies, their plantations caused them to desire expansion, and this led to several conflicts with Native Americans. I'm going to leave you with a practice prompt, and this one is a short answer question from the 2019 exam. This one is asking you to compare the economies of the Chesapeake region and the middle colonies, but it could be any of the others, so you want to make sure you're aware of all four of the regions. And they could ask you about social and political aspects as well as economic aspects, so make sure you're aware of the differences between them. You'll notice in this prompt they do give you the names of the colonies, which is helpful, as well as the regions, but you want to be aware of the region names too. So go ahead and take some time, maybe pause the video, think about how you would answer the question, and then check out the potential responses in the video's description below.